concerned, then that's a valid cause to riot. But clearly, looting, you know, local businesses in areas that are socially and economically deprived, I know that's not in all cases, i.e. Ealing and so forth, and areas in Croydon. Nonetheless, looting senselessly is a problem because the communities will have to rebuild up themselves, and a lot of businesses will come out of those areas and they employ people within the local communities, you know, so it will affect all the people in those communities, and that's deeply sad. That's senseless looting. But more importantly, for me, is, you know, there are lots of fundamental events that were due to take place, like this week, the Marcus Garvey event, coming up next week, on the 17th. I think that all young black people should be made aware of this great man. Marcus Garvey was a great man. He established the United Negro Improvement Association, and if the unveiling of his plaque doesn't take place, I'll be deeply disappointed at all members of the community, whether they're white, black, Asian, but more so the young black youth, because this man stood for a lot and did a lot for our communities. I think the media has instigated a number of the riots, and they failed to do appropriate coverage of a lot of the rioting. I mean, it's only on the third day that we've heard talks about anarchists linked to the G20. What we were initially hearing was that the issue of rioting was something to do with the black community, which isn't exclusively the case. I witnessed a riot in Peckham yesterday, and to be honest with you, a lot of the black youth were just standing there, and it was white youths who were taking bottles, torching and burning buildings. You know, so there's major things that need to be isolated out. The media had initially stigmatized the black community. It's fundamental that we understand what Trident's role is in the first place, why there was a black on black unit dealing with crime. We still don't know whether this young man was executed or not, yeah? But all of that's been swept under the carpet while they're going around highlighting the different areas that riots are taking place in. One, you know, each time a riot spread, how come there's cameramen there but there's nobody there to actually stop the rioting, you know? So these are the types of things that I think we need to look into more and more. Well, I think it's very interesting in a country where parents really don't have rights, that all of a sudden they now hold us accountable for our children. When we send our children to schools, we're being forced to allow them to learn lots of secular things which we may not agree with. If you reprimand your child physically, there are laws to stop you from doing that. You leave your child at home, there are policies stating that this is not acceptable until the child is 14. So am I really a parent to my child if the state can tell me what to do? However, in respect of the rioting, I think that it's fundamental that each parent takes responsibility for their children. But as you know, in areas where there's high social and economic deprivation, that may be difficult because lots of parents have gone to work so they can try and look after their children. Another thing is some of this rioting is about people being discontent. Inflation, people are being made unemployed, prices of things are shooting up, you know, prices of things are shooting up. So lots of people are genuinely just discontent, and I think that rioting is a reflection of some of that. Well, I think, like I said initially, the communities who have actually experienced the damage, lots of people will not be able to go to work, which is fundamental. So there'll be an increase of number of people trying to get a social fund, whatever it is, whatever funds they can access in order to stay stable. In terms of rebuilding the building, I would suggest that corporations get involved and actually invest money to help those communities. But I think more importantly is that any of the corporations that are in these areas shouldn't lose faith in the people because of a small minority. They should actually just slug it out, fix their businesses and let things go back to the way they used to be. Obviously there's more work that needs to be done with the community generally, but you have to take note that a lot of these riots were instigated by people who were moving from spot to spot. So it's not necessarily being instigated by the people who live there, but they may have joined it because of a sense of discontentment. I mean, for young black boys in the black community, they have every reason to be offended with the police. The police stop and search them randomly, you know, harass them. You know, we have young black boys being excluded from schools at rates that are ridiculous, you know, rates that are ridiculous. So the black community has a lot, yeah, to be upset for with the police and the institutions generally. We are 4% of the population, but yet still we represent 25% of their mental health institution. This is not an accident. The same goes for the prison population. You know, this is not an accident. You know, it's not an accident by any chance. The Race Relations Act and all these other tools that they bring about, they haven't changed the fate for the black people. So that means that we have to rise up and rebel. We have to say no to these standards, and we have to equip our children with the tools to understand the type of people that we're dealing with. We've had the McPherson report and nothing's changed. Yes, yes, yes. I think that even the way black people are generally still portrayed in the media as a problem. It's problematic. We've gone from a coconut black man to an exceptionally effeminate black man. Where is the black man that would die for his people? That's the image that you don't see every day. They're quick to show you RuPaul. Yeah? They're quick to show you these images and the images that we're seeing in communities. I mean, this is a fundamental time for us as a race of people. You're either sleeping or you're awake. We're dying at rapid rates. We have the highest abortion rates. And if you calculate the percentage that go into prison, and then you calculate mental health, and then you calculate the abortion rates, we are dying out. There won't be people who look like me and Jason anymore. Because multiculturalism and all the other agendas that are being promoted mean that we will no longer be here. And who does that serve? We've just seen Ethiopia and Somalia, people dying of drought. But we have corporations like Nike and Gucci who have so much money that they could set up an irrigation system. But yet still we have institutions like the UN pleading for money for these people. So I say, in terms of our community and racism has always existed. The only difference is we don't have the mindset and the type of lifestyle to actually change our fate. Because it's not going to happen through law. That's a lie. If it was going to happen through law, it would have happened a long time ago. You know, and it's not going to happen through the government. You know, because they're the ones who are instituting the laws. It's not going to happen through the police because they're the ones who prosecute us on the streets. They're the ones who go up to our children standing up because they wear a Nike hat and they wear trainers that single them out and stop and search them, you know? So it's going to be a change within us. That's why if the Marcus Garvey unveiling of the plaque is stopped, that would be a great shame. That would be a damn shame because he stood for a lot. I would say to people that if you're going to riot for something that is meaningful. And to all the young black people out there, you're part of the living dead anyway. So if you're going to die for something that is worth fighting for. Fight for your ancestors and let them know that they didn't die in vain. They didn't fight in Haiti for vain and stuff like that. Rebel!